What's up, everybody? This is Zach with the Nerd Cave, and I'm joined along with the man, the myth, the legend, Butters Whoopstar Washington.
I had almost forgot that was a thing until I was like, what? Butters Whoopstar Washington.
Yep.
You know, that's actually, I actually will tolerate that one.
I know, it's a pretty good one. That was probably my favorite. I didn't go full on because it's supposed to be Butters Whoopstar Washington. But, you know. Like, I was making the list and I'm like, that one's my favorite. That is definitely my favorite out of my list so far. So,
but see, now you used it too early. So now you set the bar now. So that means everything else has no choice but to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm a creator.
Okay.
I'm a creator.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw out one now because I probably won't use it because it does take a little bit of explanation.
Okay.
Stompatron 3000.
Say that again. You
Stompatron 3000.
Stompatron. Okay. Okay. That's. I want to hear the explanation behind it, but it sounds a little boring to me.
Yeah. See, that's why I didn't want to use it like as a regular name because you know, Whoopstar does put the bar pretty high. So that time that you came to Gulf Breeze and we were doing the show.
Oh, the Clydesdale.
Yeah.
An old Nan.
Yep. Our
downstairs neighbor.
Downstairs neighbor asked Derek, like, she's like, "Oh, are you visiting Zach?" and he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I was wondering who was stomping around like a Clydesdale up there."
Then she started off with like, "Are you the ones doing all that racket up there?"
No, she asked you if you were visiting me, and then it was like automatically like, "Oh, you're the one that's stomping."
Yeah, like, "Oh, you're the one stomping around up there," and I'm just like, "Well."
Guys, welcome to the show proper. We hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. If you want to go over to patreon.com/nerdcave, go over there, support us. You can do so. You can get awesome, cool perks. You get your name shouted out, just like Brandon Hicks, our first mate, Richard Newell, our gunner, and our deckhands, Martin Sager, Brittany Harrison, and Marilyn James. Guys, thank you for going over there and supporting us on patreon.com/nerdcave. It means the world to us. And if you're watching on youtube.com/nerdcave network, come watch us live over on twitch.tv/nerdcave network. You see how like everything has Nerd Cave in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're setting a theme. It's like you're trying to tell me something. I know it.
Yeah. Branding.
Yeah.
Branding. Guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and if you're watching us live, let us know what you think about our stories down in the comments below. Let's get into the news.
Let's do it.
Here's a rumor. This is not true. This is not false. This is just a rumor. Battlefield 6 campaign will feature co-op, branching story, and will be set in the near future. Yeah,
and it goes on to say in the article that I have here that it says it's like, you know, it's right now Battlefield 6 is a tentative name, but they're pretty much saying that it supports co-op in the near future. Of course, it's going to be a shooter, but rumor is they're going to drop the number and it's just going to be Battlefield. So I wonder if this is going to be like a sort of reboot for the franchise or what it's going to do. Because it's also going to have, you know, like advanced drones, choppers, jets, and more for like extra, like special technology and whatnot. And I want to know like how far in the distant future it goes. Because I've heard like, oh, it's like 10 years in the future, or like I've heard it's like only like a handful or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what all they do with the Battlefield franchise.
Almost sounds like Advanced Warfare. With Call of Duty and everything. And if they drop the number, it is not that big of a deal because they can restart, because it went Battlefield 4, Hardline 1, 5.
Yeah.
And like
5,
you
yeah.
know, it like they don't have the best record with numbers. Like
No.
they
No,
struggle
the
with
numbering
counting.
became irrelevant after a
They
while.
struggle with the counting,
So
guys. They need to hire the count from Sesame Street to help them out.
one bad. So
2.
um but so how do you I mean, I know there was a time when Call of Duty just like over fatigued people with the futuristic because it went from
Mhm.
Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4. They
Yep.
got tired of the futuristic stuff. Battlefield, now it's interesting because we've gotten to the old war stuff or like modern stuff, and now people are
Mhm.
like wanting something different again. Battlefield, at least to my knowledge, has never done anything futuristic. Like all the franchises they've done has been either old war or like current stuff going
Yeah.
on. So, do you think? First of all, do you like the idea of them possibly going into a little bit of a futuristic setting? And two, do you think that they could pull it off?
I think that they can pull it off. My biggest thing is will it do well? You know what I mean? Like will it be
Yeah,
something that
people
that
want.
works well? Yeah, exactly, because like with it being stuff that we understand, we get into it a little bit more.
Yeah,
Like with Advanced Warfare, I didn't really like that game.
yeah.
Like it was just
It
kind of
had its
like,
moments because it was Sledgehammer's first game, but it was okay at the end of the day.
yeah, it just for me, it was just like I don't really care about this. But you can do too much World War II. We've seen that
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
past, and I think the modern stuff, like you got to try something because like with
Yeah.
shooters, like with more not necessarily completely realistic, not like a Rainbow Six or something like
Yeah.
that. Like you've got to try things to keep people interested in your franchise.
Yep.
So I think trying a future version, sure, I think it'll do well. I'm curious to see like how they incorporate. Like they do really cool things with their like big battles and everything with
Yeah.
multiplayer. So I'm
Oh
curious how
yeah.
all of that will work and everything because you can't make some things overpowered where people can't take them out. You know what I mean? So
Right. Right. And um, it's gonna, and there's a reason why, because after 5, people kind of got like fatigued by Battlefield because while it didn't come out every year like Call of Duty does, it did come out every couple of years, and people were like, all right. And then EA and DICE saw like the concurrent players and the sales drop. Excuse me, got hiccups. Drop. And they're like, hey, let's take it back. Let's rework, because EA has been doing like this rebranding type of thing anyway. Like, sure, they still do their sports franchises because they got to make some type of money, but it's like with other known properties, like with Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Battlefield. They're like, hey,
mhm.
we want to give something people can invest in and like make this like put a fresh coat of paint on this thing and see people like it. That's why they took a couple of years off and are just like, hey, let's rethink what Battlefield means to us as a
Yeah.
company and to the player base.
Yeah, let's put some lipstick on that pig,
Right. With a ton of microtransactions.
Hopefully not. Like I really liked Battlefield 1. Like I think that was definitely like the last really
Yeah.
good Battlefield. I played some of Battlefield 5. It just felt like I didn't get into it. Like I wasn't interested. Like I was like trying
It felt
to be.
half-baked.
Yeah, I was trying to be, but it was like this is nothing like Battlefield 1. Like they did a really good job of like making you want to care about that game. In my opinion,
Yeah,
for Battlefield
exactly.
1. And Battlefield 5 was
And it was
like,
a different setting.
mhm. Yeah, the different setting made it, and it's like, we're out of ideas. Let's go back to World War II. Here we go, battle.
Yeah, right.
This thing, and I think that just gets old after a while. So hopefully that this one will be good. I like that they're doing more like co-op will be a feature of it, and then the branching story reminds me of something like Detroit Become Human. I'm sure it's not going to be as detailed as Detroit Become Human with the branching story and everything.
Yeah.
But having that option in this game means there will be more replayability, and then you also have like the the multiplayer side of it, so you will have a bigger concurrent base going on with this game. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see what Battlefield 6 or Battlefield or whatever their
Whatever,
Battletoads,
right?
no,
You
that one's
battle.
already taken. That one's already taken,
That's a
guys.
wrong one. I
Speaking
also
of,
want to know if the branching. I was gonna say just one more thing, like on the branching story. I was like, I wonder if they're like branching story like narrative choices or branching story as in like they're gonna have multiple protagonists and they'll each have different parts of whatever conflict is going on, and then they'll all converge at like one center point.
I don't know. When I think of branching story, it's like decision based stuff. Like they usually don't put that kind of like in context that way unless there's like some sort of player choice in it.
Right.
So I think we might get more of a choice based thing instead of like theaters of war or villains type deal.
Yeah.
So moving on, EA Sports is working on the PGA Tour. Announced as next gen golf title, will feature multiple PGA Tour events. I know right now PGA is the only one that has multiple studios that have license to the franchise. So we've got 2K, and now we have EA that has license. And I think it is a good thing to see multiple companies having a license. Yeah, exactly. And, we've seen when NBA Live was kind of the thing, and then 2K come in, and 2K like push really, really hard, and then pretty much killed NBA Live off.
Yeah.
And now 2K has gotten lax on their NBA games, so.
Yeah. So and it's only because they knew, and they tried to, when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, they tried to revive Live, and then there was like a weird like, oh, they did a couple, took a year off, then made another one, then they had to delay it to the next year. It was this whole weird amalgam thing that they tried Live and it just didn't ever work out, and now like 2K is like fat and happy again. It's just like, yeah, we don't need to try, we're good, we squashed our competition. But it's funny because, and I don't know what happened with it, right? Because EA, I know there was like after the Tiger Woods controversy, they kind of dropped, because EA was the first one to do it. Like they did like the Tiger Woods PGA Tour, then his controversial stuff came out, and they dropped Tiger Woods. But then they did one, I think it was 2014 or 2015, with Rory McIlroy PGA Tour, and that's the last one EA did for some time. And then you've seen other properties come out, like the golf. There's one called the Golf Club that's kind of like a mid tier that's kind of like doing somewhat well. And then I think, what was it? They merged, and now it's like PGA Tour 2K21 or whatever, with that 2K is working on. So that's been like, and that did actually pretty well from what I saw. So it's it's a golf game. So now that I guess EA, I guess it's the year of reviving old sports titles. now where's Fight Night? Now, that's my question, is where's Fight Night?
Fight Night. Bringing up good memories.
There was rumors last year that they were going to revive Fight Night, but nothing's come of it since. So we'll see. But I guess it's the year of reviving sports franchises, because I guess they figured, hey, people still like golf. Let's bring in golf games, because some of the events that they're going to have are going to be the Players Championship and the FedEx Cup playoffs are going to be in there, which are like some of the huge ones. I'm surprised they don't have. Maybe they'll add it later on, but I'm surprised they're not going to add the Masters in. Because that's like pretty much like the Super Bowl of the golfing world.
Yeah, green coats and all of that good stuff. I'm glad that EA Sports is getting back into this. I think it's going to be awesome. And I think we also need to take a look at its next gen, which I'm assuming is going to be just PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. So you won't be seeing it on the last gen consoles and everything.
Yeah.
But glad to see that. Competition breeds innovation, guys. Always good to see. Moving on to some more sports news, and this one's big, guys. When I saw this, I was like,
just announced, was it this morning? So
MLB The Show 21 confirmed for day one on the Xbox Game Pass. Holy moly, guacamole!
Yeah,
I just I saw that and I'm like, something's about to change.
Yeah, exactly. And we had reported on it. a while back, this year, because you had seen it last year, where it's like when MLB renewed their license with Sony, it's like, hey, you do great work, and we'll still let your studio work on it, but we need you to expand it to other platforms in order to keep this contract. Sony's like, all right, fine, we'll do it. More money probably in our pocket, and so it's coming. It was coming to the Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One this year for the first time ever. And now Xbox is like, hey, we're not only going to take your title, we're going to one up you and put it on Game Pass day one, which is April 23rd, 21st, one of those days later this month. And you see this trickle down effect now, right? Like once one starts rolling, it's like a snowball effect. Because we reported on last week's episode that Outriders, like a big third party game, was coming to Game Pass. It's out now. It came out yesterday, but it's on Game Pass day one, and that was a huge get. Like, because you had arguably not seen like a huge third-party game, at least on a new release, come to Game Pass day one, and now it's like that snowball is going to roll. And now let's see who else we can get on board with Game Pass. And it's like not only are we getting a new property, we're going to put it on Game Pass. So this is huge for baseball owners, and it's like now people are questioning is like, oh, why Sony doesn't do it on PS Plus or PS Now? And it's like they want money.
Yeah, simple as that. And this isn't Xbox saying, okay, Sony, we're going to take your game that you're putting on our console and we're going to give it to everybody for free. No.
Yeah.
Microsoft came in with a barrel full of money and said, okay, we want this on Game Pass. What is it going to take? Because it will take out of the bottom line. So they have to make up for that. So they're like, okay, well, this is how much it's going to be. And this is what we're thinking about. Having, this many sales on Xbox. So this is how much we need to cover that. And that's how Game Pass works, guys. It's not a free thing. People don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. This is a business. So it is an awesome get for Xbox. Like, like it coming to Game Pass. Like when I saw that, I was like, what is going on? Like, that's huge because I feel like this is also a test to see how PlayStation properties are going to do other places. And this is not a full-blown PlayStation property because it is, a franchise, but it's one that they're not worried about. Okay, well, if we put this out, this isn't going to kill us. This isn't going to, this is MLB. This isn't God of War. Like if God of War came to Xbox, that would be like people would be so angry. So it's like let's just dip our toe, and then I could see Dreams being the next one. I could see Dreams being the next one that goes.
Well, they've talked about like outsourcing their creation tools too, right? So I mean, who knows what possibilities that'll bring? But too, it's like there has ever since MLB 2K from 2K Sports like went away like back in 2013. There hasn't been a good, like there's been RBI baseball and Super Mega Baseball, but Super Mega Baseball has always been more kiddie, and RBI baseball has been utter trash. Like it's like it started as a mobile game. If that should tell you all you need to know. So Xbox really hasn't had a great baseball game in a long time to play. So they're seeing that they're taking this opportunity by the horns, and it's like, hey, this is a well-known franchise. This is like year in, year out, always great. And does gangbusters, and there's like a huge swell of baseball fans. So it's like, here you go. Here, like I don't want to say it's like a testing market to see how big the demand is, but it definitely it's kind of like that too.
Oh no, I really feel like this is a way for Sony to see how could they make more money.
Yeah.
How could they make more money? And because we've already seen, Horizon Zero Dawn come to PC. We saw Dying Light come to PC. So it's like
Days Gone is on the horizon.
Yep. So it's like seeing what can happen with these games. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious to see where it goes from here. Some bigger news. Well, I'm not saying it's bigger news, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 standalone multiplayer has been canceled. The leak suggests future DLC for single player, and they put out a huge note this week about the update and everything. So I'm curious to see how this is going to affect everything.
So we had kind of hinted at it I think last week, 2 weeks ago, that there was rumor that they were going to just inevitably cancel it, and now it looks like it's to be true. They did say it's like, hey, I think they want to double down and be like, hey, don't worry, we're not totally killing off the game. We're just killing that part because originally there was a leak on the Epic Game Store that had a total of 18 DLCs, but some have been removed. So now it's like apparently 10 free items are coming in the future to Cyberpunk, which for Witcher 3, they did a bunch of free DLC around the launch window of the game to begin with. So it kind of follows that same track. But, it's like supposedly the Ripper Docks expansion, Body Shops expansion, Fashion Forward expansion, Gangs of Night City, Body of Chrome, Rides of the Dark Future, The Relic, Neck Deep, Night City expansion, and then an unnamed DLC. So it's like, it seems like there's going to be stories, like they're going to add more to like the world itself, like side missions, and then just like free cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that they're doing this because, like you said, Witcher had a lot of free stuff like pumped into it throughout its whole thing, and it coming, it's saying, hey, we're not giving up on the game. We're going to keep making stuff for the game. We're trying to improve it while also working to make it, a thing that you want to play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and it's still, I was never keen on it like obviously I'm not the biggest multiplayer proponent anyway. I'm like, I'll play multiplayer games, but like I'm now at the point where like I'll just play it when people I know are on. Like I don't just play it willy-nilly. Like it takes a lot. Like I'm more invested in story games. So it's no love lost for me. I would have liked to have seen, because, we have seen like Uncharted multiplayer, Last of Us multiplayer, and some of those do take off when we're like all apprehensive, like, how is this going to work? And it takes off. So, and then there's others like Tomb Raider multiplayer. Remember when the first Tomb Raider came out in 2013, they announced multiplayer and it was utter garbage. So some don't take off, but I would like to have seen like the vision they had for this. But, it's a testament to how much trouble the game has been in, right, since launch back in December. Like it has been so much grueling. Like apparently it's still not on the PlayStation Store, even though Cyberpunk, like digitally anyway, right, even though CD Projekt Red has said, oh, it's in the ball's in Sony's court. And it's like, how much of that is true, how much are you just lying to me to I'm sure it's a 50-50 split on that part. I'm sure Sony doesn't want any more backlash, and it's like, they don't want to have to go through refunds again if the game is still broken. So that probably is true to some extent. But I wonder how much this is going to affect the next gen ports of it, because it's still not on PS5. Like you can play it via backwards compatibility, but it's still not a true PS5. So what is to you, like, I know I forget if you've played any of the game. I have yet to play any of the game. What is like the multiplayer being canceled? Like, what is like, is this like not necessarily concerning is the word I'm looking for, but like, what does this say to you? And then like, what does it say to the state of the game overall?
To me, it says, okay, guys, we are going to focus on the thing that is important, and that is the story and the world and getting it fixed. We're also going to be making new content to go into this game after we have fixed it. That tells me that they are wanting to put legs to it, that they're wanting to make it what it should have been from the very get-go and not try to dilute the water with multiplayer. Like, you were already saying, like, a lot of games try to shove a multiplayer aspect in there when it isn't needed. And Cyberpunk is one of those things. It's like, this is a story-based game with decisions that affect the world and change the world, make the world actually function, make the changes that need to happen, and don't worry about it. It tells me, it's like, okay, we're cutting the fat here. We're focusing on the things that are needed to make this thing run and operate and make people want to come back. And to your point with, it not being on the PlayStation Store and everything, PlayStation isn't going to put it on their store until it's fixed, until it works. And that is all, it is their PlayStation's decision, but they have to submit updates, any kind of fixes, and PlayStation has to approve them. And they know PlayStation is looking at it. Does it actually function? Has this actually been fixed? And if it hasn't, they're not going to take the bullet for Cyberpunk 2077 again. They're going to say, no, fix it, make it work,
Yeah.
before we put it on our profile, on our platform.
Yeah, 100%. And they saw, like, granted, CD Projekt Red tried to like shuffle the blame off on someone else, but when all this debacle happened, they're like, oh, Sony and Microsoft will issue refunds for you. And Microsoft and Sony looked at each other and was like, you didn't talk to us about this. What are you doing? Like, don't you put the ball back in my court? Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby? Like, no. So I'm sure they want to avoid that kind of conflict again, because if the game is still a broken mess, who's to say that CD Projekt Red won't try to like undercut them again? And it's just like, look, you fooled me once, But and I also think, going back to the multiplayer thing for a minute, I think it's like, because CD Projekt Red hasn't had like a storied history. Like, it's done The Witcher and then Cyberpunk. I'm sure they've done other things, but like they're known for The Witcher and now known for the debacle of Cyberpunk. So they've really, to my knowledge, they haven't really done anything multiplayer wise. So I think when it's a studio, you owe it to yourself to at least try. But them just giving up on it, like, yes, I think in one aspect, you're right in saying that, we want to focus and double down on the thing that brought us to, dance with the one that brought you. At the same time, I wonder if they just pretty much figured that the vision they had for multiplayer, at the end of the day, they're just like, we shouldn't dump resources into this. Who knows if it'll even take off? Like, our game's in the limbo right now. So why don't we just, I hope they kind of like revisit it later. Like, maybe like when the next gen versions come out, they like open that back up again. But I think it was the right move. But I would have at least liked to have seen a vision for what they had in mind.
Yeah, well, and you also got to think they might not even have the concurrent numbers to even warrant any sort of multiplayer.
Right.
So
that's true.
It's you gotta cut the dead weight off and keep moving on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hopefully this continues an upward trend for them in the positive route.
Yep, hopefully so. Good morning, Marilyn. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning.
On to a studio that actually fixed their game and made it like from the deep depths of purgatory.
Hades, exactly.
Has brought themselves back. No Man's Skies Expeditions update out now includes 4K UI, cross-save rewards, and more.
Yeah, and you want to just to make a sports reference real quick, like some say that Tom Brady and the Patriots 28-3 comeback against the Falcons was the greatest of all time. I'd have to disagree and say that No Man's Sky is the greatest comeback of all time.
Exactly.
Because you want to talk about bad PR from the get-go. This is like the poster child for bad PR.
Yep.
But no, it's it just doubles down on the fact of like how much is like when you put your head down, because they came a long way. Because I mean, Sean Murray, like, without getting too much into the weeds, like they got death threats, they got like they got the book thrown at them for this when it first came out and it underdelivered. But they put their head down. They've just slowly built this up into now like one of the best ongoing games out there. Because this game came out 2015, I want to say 2016.
Yeah.
So it's the latter part of the last 6 years that they've just continually just said, you know what? Let's just do our thing. And it won Best Ongoing Game of the Year last year at the Game Awards. So, and that's just a testament to how far they've come. Zero to hero, as some might say. But, a lot of this in the expansion, because it's out now, guys. So you can, I don't know if it's a free update or if you pay for it. I think it's a free update, but it's going to include Galactic Expeditions, First Place Medal mission patches, Smiling Face with sunglasses, new HUD plus 4K UI, Expedition Planner, Goggles Visor Tech, Trophy Cross Save Rewards, Flying Saucer Sentinel Balance, Brain Perf Performance and Load Optimized, Smiling Face with Heart-Shaped Eyes Cross-Platform Naming Merge, Pushpin Improved Pinning, and Tear Off Calendar Ongoing Seasons. So it's got a lot of stuff, and this is encouraging like more like, hey, play with your friends type thing.
It's like, I don't know half the crap that is.
Me either.
It's like
I haven't.
Smiling face, sunglasses, hard face, sunglasses. Like, it's like,
I know.
What are you talking about?
Like,
but it's awesome to see that they're putting stuff in there, and I looked up the release date is August 9th of 2016 is when it
Oh,
released first.
Okay.
But,
So,
you know, like they really went back to the drawing board, and you know, it's something that CD Projekt Red fell into of overpromising. You know, we've seen game companies overpromise so many times and underdeliver, and
yep.
No Man's Sky fell into that because you think of Peter Molyneux, that did Fable and everything. He was notoriously bad about that, and he kind of has been ostracized a little bit. And a lot of people don't want to like work with him or let him speak about anything. It's like, you know, you got good ideas, but we don't want you to do any PR. It's like you shut up and you stay over there. Because when you do that and it doesn't come to fruition, it really, really messes with people. And like Amy said, don't overpromise. You underpromise and overdeliver always.
Yep.
So I think that is, you know, the goal here is, you know, moving forward, you would hope from the No Man's Sky thing, CD Projekt Red would have learned, but they didn't. So, but I think this is a bigger debacle than No Man's Sky ever was, though, because they were a small indie company. CD Projekt Red, on the other hand, had already released several good games, and The Witcher 3 being like touted as one of the best games of the decade. You know, they had no room to wiggle in. But I'm glad No Man's Sky is still putting out stuff. I'm glad that they're continuing doing upgrades and everything, and then cross save rewards. That's really cool that they're like rewarding people from going from one thing to another. You know, being able to play on different stuff. So I love that. Moving on to
me too.
You want to say anything else on it?
No. I was I was done.
Okay. Dying Light 2 Deets. Derek put Deets, guys, so I'm going to say Deets here.
Yep.
Next gen version will feature performance and quality modes along with ray tracing. PS4 and Xbox One are the game's main consoles and the team's priority. RPG-like mechanics are still a cornerstone feature, and the map is based more on verticality and offers plenty of exploration opportunities. I love that they're putting that the last gen, which is the biggest install base, of course, is the main focus, because there have been other games that it hasn't been their main focus, and they fell into that trap.
Well, and I think they learned because Dying Light 1, when it came out, like it was just PS4 and Xbox One, but it had ambition to come to PS3 and 360. It's just the tech was so archaic for what they wanted to do in that game that they just didn't have time. It was the reason why they had to delay it for so many months, or I think to a year or whatever, because they were having issues keeping with the tech, and it was just like, look, it's buggy, and we don't want to put out a buggy mess of a game on last gen, so they just canceled them altogether. But now I think they're working with the PS4 and Xbox One as much as they have after putting out one game. They know like what to expect from that, and they've been working on that thing for years, and they just only got dev kits for PS5 and Series X. So they're now trying to do better upscaling with it, and then with the PS5 and Series X having back compat, that I'm pretty sure they're seeing like what they could push out of those, to make the next gen versions of that. But yeah, I agree with you. It's good to know that they're having the last gen player base in mind. It's like, hey, look, we know where our bread was buttered when our first game came out. We're not going to leave you in the dust.
Yeah, and I like that because, for me, it's like, okay, you can either focus on making it play on a set of consoles that 150 million plus people have, or you can focus on making it run well on, maybe, let's say 20,000 units. I'm lowballing here. 20,000 users between Xbox and PlayStation 5, are out there. And it's like, of course I'm going to go with the 150 million plus consoles on both of those. Like, that'd be dumb. And
you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, and then it's like you can have like that already cross, it will be able to play on PS5 already, with that version and everything. So, but I feel like we've talked about Dying Light a lot in the last few weeks. I don't think
Yeah.
this is their biggest problem right here.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is them trying to like put the game as the focus now instead of like what the studio has been doing behind closed doors that came to light. So this is them trying to sweep that under the rug. Is like, hey, forget about this for a second. Here's our game. So, but I mean, it's good to know that they still have like those key features because like we stated, the head honcho over there was like trying to like had ADD and just like trying to like, oh, add this. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work, just fix it. And it's like them saying like the RPG mechanics are still like a cornerstone of it. And the world, like, because they harped on like in the last demo like how big and how differentiating the world will be based on the choices you make. Because in the article I have about the world, just to quote the because it's like, was it speaking during the Q&A with WCCF Tech, the team was asked about the previous claims that Dying Light 2's map is roughly 4 times the size of its predecessor. And in response, one of the senior programmers said, what actually limits the map size is the time needed to fill the city with unique gameplay, challenges, memorable stories, and interesting exploration possibilities. There was no downsizing due to technical reasons. The estimate that the map in Dying Light 2 is 4 times bigger than that of the original game is the most precise estimate that we can provide. The map of Dying Light 2 is much more vertical and gives many more exploration opportunities, so the city feels even bigger than it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think, it's not about, the size of the map, because I think a lot of people get caught up in that side of things. But when it's packed with things to find, to discover, to experience, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I think about, like PlayStation 2 games. They would start, that's where open world started and everything, that generation, in a very, very small version of it. Like I remember it was Spider-Man 2. Like you got to swing around New York.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
awesome. It was amazing. I love that game. But there wasn't a lot to do, like interaction wise. Like there was some, but I think about Spider-Man PlayStation 4. There was so much to do. Like there was so much more interactivity and everything. And it just goes to show, it's like if you put that in there, it doesn't matter how big the map is. It just matters about how much you can interact with the world. That's what people want.
Right. And you see, like Ubisoft still has this problem, right? Like they go in with the mindset of being like, for a lot of their open world games, like, hey, make it bigger, make it more expansive than ever, and then they forget to fill in a lot of things, or they fill in like too many of the tedious things. It's like, oh, here's this new section of the map that you unlocked. Here's just like minute things to do. Like there's nothing significant or something enticing enough to make you do it. Whereas you see like with Sony and Microsoft, like even like, I know Gears is not open world, but it has like certain sections of the game where it's like bigger areas, and they don't just make it bigger for for their sake. They give you stuff to do in it and to discover. And so like what you see with Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, even like, again, not open world, but like pseudo like hub area, God of War 2018, and even Days Gone, as rough as that game was, it still gave you plenty of things to do. So I think more and more developers are figuring out like, hey, bigger doesn't mean better unless you fill it with meaningful content. So it's not one of those like if you build it they will come, but it's definitely one of those like if you put stuff that make people want to come in there, they will play it.
Yep, 100%. Dan said second Mysterio fight was the best fight ever. Laugh out loud. I'm assuming that was the Spider-Man PS2 game.
Yeah.
I don't remember that fight, but I remember the 1990 Spider-Man where you fought Mysterio. That was awesome. I love that game. Stan Lee was the narrator for the game.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was great. You should go play that game, guys. Back from the blast from the past. Moving on. Bungie's new IP targeting a 2025 release teases a new secret world in parallel with Destiny. I didn't even know that Bungie was making anything, and it's interesting like that it's going to be a parallel, not necessarily like moving away from Destiny It's going to be like it's still in the same like canon universe, but it's going to be like, let's move away from this a little bit in a way.
Yeah. So I didn't know they were working on anything either, or had plans to work on a new IP. Because most people are thinking it's like, oh, well, they're just meaning Destiny 3. No, if pay attention to the wording, it says new IP. Destiny 3 is not a new IP, it's a sequel. So, because I know they made a thing last year, the year before, saying that, hey, we're still have a roadmap for Destiny 2 through, I think, 2022. So I forget if it's going to have new content. I know it's going to have new content for Destiny 2 this year. I forget if it's going to have it for next year or if they're going to put out Destiny 3 next year or 2023. But it's going to come out well before this new IP, whatever they plan on doing.
Yeah.
But the reason I added this in was because of the thing parallel world to Destiny, and you kind of touched on it. The first thing that comes to mind is like MCU for me. It's like, are they going to create like this whole like massive universe in Destiny now and like branch off from like, of course, every character, you have a creative character and everything's different. Everyone has like different loadouts and whatnot, but there's like these overarching characters like Cade and I forget like the main like leaders of each class as like the central characters. So I wonder if they're going to do like, say, like side stories or like have like a different part of the universe like that's going on, like where more Guardians wake up and it's like, all right, you're fighting you're all coming together to fight this one central war that's going on in the universe.
Well, I just had an idea. The name of the thing that is so important is called the Traveler. Thus, traveled different places, so it's affected different places. So this could be a place where the Traveler had been at one point in time and had, it would have been even like when it was more powerful at that point. So like the Guardians could be even more powerful, or it could be something totally different, I think that would be interesting to see, like something where, the Traveler wasn't just kind of like trying to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So, and of course, there's always the multiverse theory in there too. So maybe it's like an alternate universe. It'd be cool if they did an alternate universe and you get to play as like some of the villains, and it's like, oh, the Guardians are the villains of our story type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm down for that.
That. So, because there was like heavy speculation when Destiny 1 came out, like apparently like in some like the lore, like the codex cards or that you unlocked through playing through Destiny 1, the greatest thing you could ever I'm joking, obviously.
You want to know, you want a good story, you want to know where the world came from, go read this thing on the internet.
Okay. Go to Bungie.net and read more on it.
Yeah, we're not going to explain it in the game. Just go read it on our website.
Yeah. But apparently someone made a theory that from some of the lore cards that you get from Destiny 1, that it's like, hey, the Guardians are actually evil, and like the light is like pretty much like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like pretty much like the evil source. And like they're actually, like there was that theory thrown out. So they could play with that if they wanted to.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see it flipped on its head. I don't know if they would do that since they've that it could be like a what if kind of thing, but I don't think they make a whole new IP based off. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know. We'll never know.
Nope.
But the one thing that I'm excited to talk about is this next story, because I have loved this franchise for so long, and then Derek finally got on it after like 20 years of me talking about it. Not really 20 years, but it was quite a long time, because I remember talking about it early in our college days. But this is a rumor, of course. Remedy is making Alan Wake 2, and Epic Games is publishing it for multiple platforms. And I'm excited about this because Control came out last year. Had like a tie-in
2 years ago.
2 years ago. That's right.
Yeah, the expansion came out last year, but the game itself came out in 2019.
Well, there you go. I've got my human encyclopedia of gaming knowledge with me, guys. So he keeps me on track. But Control came out, and it did have a tie into Alan Wake. So they're keeping it alive. And if Remedy makes Alan Wake 2, guys, I'm excited. Love that game so much. Amazing writing, combat was interesting, just a fantastic game. And I've been wanting an Alan Wake 2 since I finished the first one. So, Derek, what is your thoughts?
So, and I put this purposely at the end, right? Because I knew you'd be excited for this. Because it goes with the timeline, right? Because Remedy bought back the rights from Xbox for Alan Wake. And then there was rumor that there's been all these rumors circulating because, obviously that they're their own company now. They're not owned or like they're not collabing with anyone. They're their own studio at this point. So they've been looking for studios to outsource. Like they got 505 games to publish Control. Which is a great game. And at first when they announced like Alan Wake, I'm like, oh, they're just teasing it because paranormal type stuff. And then they're like, oh no, this is a connected universe we're making now. So like at least no word on if Quantum Break will be part of that connected universe, but at least Control and Alan Wake go hand in hand. But then there were rumors like last year that saying, oh, Alan Wake 1 could come to PlayStation down the road now that Remedy owns it, and nothing has come of that since then. So if this rumor pans out to be true that it's coming to multiple ones, it only makes sense to be like, hey, PlayStation people, we know you never played it, have had a chance to play Alan Wake 1. Here's that version now. So I hope it's true. I like the multiple platform thing because more people need to play it. Because Remedy had only done their first 2 games on Xbox, and Control was their first multi-plat game. And as you can see, it did gangbusters.
Yeah, and I would love to see more people play the first Alan Wake. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah,
and like if they're bringing everything into one universe. Does Quantum Break, is it owned by Xbox as well?
I want to say yes.
Okay, so I don't think we'll see that anytime soon, but the possibility of an Alan Wake 2 makes me super, super excited. I cannot wait.
Because just in the first couple chapters I've played, I need to go back and finish it. But in the first couple chapters I played, I've texted you, and it's like, what the heck is going on? This is insane.
It's amazing. And like, if you haven't played it, definitely go check it out. Like, even if it's a game, I can't even remember. I think it was like 2009 or something like that when it was made.
Yeah, 2009, 2010. So
yeah, like it's a game worth playing. The story sells the game, and that's what I've always known about video games. Is like, most of them have decent to amazing gameplay, but it's the story. I like being in an interactive like story being told and everything. But Alan Wake 2. It's got a long time before we're going to see it, Derek. And I know you're ready to get into it. You're ready to get to the speed bag. You're ready for the quick hits. So let's do it. This is time for the quick hits with Derek.
So, Secret Neighbor is finally coming to PlayStation on PS4 on April 29th. It had originally just been on PC and Xbox for the longest time. So now it's coming to PlayStation platforms. Rust Console Edition is coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox One, and Series X and S on May 21st. Rocket League Season 3 has been announced for April 7th, and will have NASCAR and Formula One bundles to come out early and mid-May, respectively. Just a little caveat, I'm surprised, like Formula One is not as big, I guess, at least in the United States, I would say, but it's surprising that they haven't done any kind of NASCAR like bundle packs already in Rocket League, but I digress. It just made sense, I guess. PAX East has canceled their live event for this year, but will instead bring back PAX Online for July. And if you remember, a lot of things like E3, Comic-Con, all had to cancel their in-person events due to COVID, and a lot of them did online, and looks like PAX is going with that. Side caveat, not anything gaming related per se, but did you see that San Diego Comic-Con is doing a live event on Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, I saw that. That's kind of dumb.
It is. It's like, and I feel bad for the workers because you have to work there. So, but it is what it is. Hopefully they'll change their mind. Moving on. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I did a PSA saying that there was a rumor that Sony would close the PlayStation stores for PS3, Vita, and PSP. They have come out now and said that is confirmed to happen, and that will happen on July 2nd. So get your games while you can, guys, because it's going to be lost in the ethos.
Yes. Here's my suggestion for any PS Vita players or anyone that is interested in getting a PS Vita. Taco Master, Freedom Fighters, Persona 4 Golden.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some needed games. And if you haven't played, I think it's Lucho Libre.
Yes.
If you don't have that on a normal console, get it on Vita. It's well worth it, guys.
Yep.
Really good.
Yep. Then Genshin Impact, which was a game that took off last year. It's one of those gacha games, those free to play like Fortnite, but with a different twist. Is coming to PS5 sometime this year, and will have DualSense support and faster load times. It was that's just kind of a duh thing because it's like, all right, it was more of a win, not if. Going back to CD Projekt Red, I guess kind of like to deter people from being upset about Cyberpunk news, they're saying, hey, Witcher 3 Complete Edition will come to PS5 and Series X later this year. It was on that one's another dull one. Like, it's it's arguably the game that put them on the map. So it's like, it only makes sense to come to the next gen versions. It being later this year, I guess they're so wrapped up in Cyberpunk that they had to push it back to later this year. It almost seems like they should put that out now, or like not now, but like in the summer. But it is what it is. Elder Scrolls Online console enhanced version will come to PS5 and Xbox Series X and S on June 8th, which is the same day as the Blackwood expansion. So I wonder if that'll just be a whole package that'll include that as well for those versions. And then now something new I want to add to the quick hits when they come up, because they don't put these up till the end of the month, and Nintendo's usually comes up for the middle of the month. But I want to put out when they announce like the free games for Gold and PS Plus and the Switch Online, just so everyone knows what to expect and to see if they want to grab any of these games while they're there. So for games with Gold for April, for the entire month of April, you can get Vikings Wolves of Midgard, which I've heard was a pretty decent game. From April 16th to May 15th, you get Truck Racing Championship. Then you get, for the first half, the 1st through the 15th, you get Dark Void. And then for the latter half, the 16th through the 30th, you get Hardcore Uprising. And those are like your back compat, like 360 titles, the last two that they always put out. Then for PS Plus for this month, they announced at the the State of Play a couple months ago that Oddworld Soulstorm was going to be the free game this month. And it's like, okay, cool. But the PS4 games they officially announced make this month a solid month for PlayStation people, as you get Days Gone, a rough launch, but ended up being a solid Sony first-party game, and then Zombie Army 4 Dead War. So.
Awesome. I don't really know any of the Xbox games. So there you go. I thought Days Gone already went through PS Plus though.
No, it went on PS Now, but not PS Plus.
Okay. That answers my question. I'm like, how are they giving away a game that they already gave away? But okay, that makes more sense now. Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited for a ton of these. I'm gaming, it seems like things are picking back up now. Like we're not, things are getting a little bit more back to normal, which I'm excited for. I'm glad that we're getting a little bit more normalcy and everything. And is the play at home thing done with PlayStation? Was that yesterday that it ended?
No, it's going on for 3 months, remember? Because you get Ratchet and Clank, and then I think end of this month or beginning of May, you get Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, so guys, make sure if you got a PlayStation, go check that out. Get your free games, all that good stuff.
Also, you get more free goodies, you know?
Get all the games. All that good stuff. Well, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the show. Make sure to go over to patreon.com/nerdcave. Go support us over there, just like our awesome Patreons did already that we shouted out. And you can watch us live over on twitch.tv/nerdcave network. And you can watch the show, post thingy, you know what I mean? You can watch us do the pre-show and the post-show. Or if you're watching over on youtube.com/nerdcave network, make sure to hit that like, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and let us know what you're most excited for out of the stories that we talked today. Derek, It's been an awesome one, man. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Like I said, favorite time of the week. So glad I could come out and talk some nerdy stuff.
Yep. The Whoop Star, man.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been Zach
and Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.